Voters of Omaha. We are a nonpartisan nonprofit based here in Omaha, and we put on candidate forums like this so everybody in our community can be educated about their candidates. Our structure for today, we will have Candide, our host, give each of our candidates an introduction. You may applaud during each person, but after that, we will not allow any public participation. So that means no questions, no applause, just because we do want to give everybody an equal opportunity to answer each question without interjection. At the end, you are welcome to come up to candidates, ask them your own questions. That is fine. Just during the forum, please refrain from any participation. So, Candide will give it about a minute intro. She'll introduce each of the candidates. Each of them will have a minute opening statement. We will then ask 5 questions of them. They will get 45 seconds to answer each question, and then a minute closing statement. That is it. That is all I have. So, I'm going to turn it over to Candide, that she will introduce everybody. Sound good? Wonderful. Thank you all.
Alrighty, thank you, Taylor. Welcome to this candidate forum presented by the League of Women Voters of Greater Omaha. I'm Candide Santiago, Director of Operations with the League of Women Voters of Greater Omaha, and I will be our facilitator for tonight's conversation. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan organization and does not endorse political candidates or parties. Our purpose is to empower voters and defend democracy. As a result of our discussions, we hope you will be ready to make an informed decision during election time. The views expressed at this educational event are not necessarily aligned with those of the League of Women Voters, but are expressed at the discretion of our guest. Today we will hear from 6 candidates for the Millard Public Schools Board, running for the 3 available, running from the 3 available at-large seats. Our objective is for voters to hear about issues and policies directly from candidates in a nonpartisan environment. To find out more about the candidates that will be on your ballot this November, visit vote411.org, organized and published by the League of Women Voters of Nebraska Volunteers. The format for today is as follows. Each candidate will get a 1-minute opening statement followed by questions prepared by the League of Women Voters. Each candidate will answer every question and will have up to 45 seconds to answer. Following the question portion, each candidate will have a 1-minute closing statement. We will alternate speaking order throughout the forum. We will not take public questions or comments, but audience members are encouraged to speak with willing candidates at the conclusion of the forum. We also would like to give each candidate an equal opportunity to answer questions without interruption, so please hold interjections, such as applause or other noises, until the end. Before the forum, the candidates drew numbers to determine the initial speaking order. I will introduce them now in that order. First, we have Jennifer Meyer, Justin Curtis, Allison Kinney-Walker, Poole, Knut Haasch, McGill Johnson. Let's start with opening statements. Jennifer, if you will.
Thank you. My name is Jennifer Meyer, and I am a proud Millard graduate, and I've turned into a proud Millard parent. I'm married to Alex Meyer. I have 3 children in Millard Public Schools, grades 2nd, 5th, and 6th grade. I started out in Millard in kindergarten, and I attended Sandoz. We moved and I went to Rockwell in 5th grade. I attended Central Middle School before they had a 6th grade, and then I also went to Millard South. One of the reasons why I'm running for the school board is I want my kids and all the children of Millard to be able to have the educational opportunities that I did, that undoubtedly laid the foundation for me and my success through graduate school and through the legal profession. So my day job, I'm an attorney. I practice law here in Nebraska. I serve employees and families all across the state. I have offices in Omaha and in Lincoln, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Justin?
Well, my name is Justin Curtis. I want to start by thanking the League of Women's Voters for hosting this forum, for Millard North High School for creating this space, and for all of you for showing up and those who are kind of tuning in on YouTube. Millard is great because of partnerships like this, and parents who care and parents who show up. So thank you so much for being here. I also want to thank Linda and Amanda as well. Millard is a wonderful school district, and much of that is just because of steady leadership over the years. So I want to thank them. And then also, one of my greatest joys through this process has been able to get to know these other candidates. So Knut and Allison and Jennifer, it's been a joy to get to know them. It takes a lot of courage to run for school board and to serve on the Millard School Board, to put yourself forward with all the communal scrutiny at times and affirmation at times. So I just want to honor just the courage that is there. I'm a former Millard graduate as well from Millard South High School, former Millard teacher. I've got 5 kids in the district, 2 who are right now at show choir practice. And I'm just invested in this district, and I'd love to see it continue to thrive for years to come.
Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you all for being here. I'm Dr. Allison Kinney-Walker, and I am a college professor. I've been working in the educational field for the last 15 years, currently as a college professor at Nebraska Methodist College. And I have my doctorate in educational leadership. And as a fellow educator, I was really proud to receive the endorsement from the Millard Education Association. I'm also a parent, and I have 4 girls in the Millard School District, 3 at Montclair Elementary and 1 at Millard North Middle School, and will be in the district for the next 12 years. I have volunteered in Millard School since my oldest daughter started preschool 8 years ago, and I've seen firsthand the amazing teachers, staff, and students we have in the district. I'm running for the school board because I believe in public education, and I want to make sure that every student in Millard has access to the world-class education that we have to offer here, and I want to be part of the board that fulfills that mission. So thank you so much, and I look forward to tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you to everybody for being here tonight. My name is Poole, and I have been served on the Millard Board of Education for the past 28 years, and that's truly been a privilege for me. I'm also an educator by profession. I am currently a 6th grade teacher in the William Vista Community School District. However, I started my teaching career right here in Millard at Holly Heights Elementary. My husband Doug and I have 3 children, 3 daughters, all of who are also in the education profession. 2 of them are in Millard, and 1 of them teaches in the Gretna Public Schools. So we are a family of educators, which I'm proud to say. People have asked me over and over again since I first ran for the board in 1996, why was I interested in running for the board? And my reason has not changed over the past 28 years. It's because I want to give back to the community that has given so much to me. I'm a product of Millard Public Schools. I've been associated with this district for over 50 years. I attended Cather Elementary School, Millard North Middle School, and I was in the first graduating class from Millard North High School here in 1982. So I'm proud of that. I'm proud to have been a student here, proud to be a parent here, a teacher here, and a board member. So I feel like all of those things have given me a unique perspective. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Knut Haasch, and I wish I could have gotten this many people in an after-prom meeting. Annie and I moved here to Millard in 1990, and when our daughter Palmer started kindergarten at Harvey Oaks in 2002, that's when I began my service here in Millard. We know that this district is the heart of our community, and I want to be able to give back to that like I have for these past 2 decades. Starting at Harvey Oaks Elementary, Millard North Middle, Millard North, I've worked on 10 different readathons, 8 different after-proms that I've already mentioned, and I've been able to work with the best parents, teachers, students, and administration at all levels of this district during my service here. When Campbell graduated in 2019, I took my service outside of the buildings, and I've co-chaired a tax levy override and a bond issue, both successful. and I'm currently a member of the Millard Public Schools Foundation. I'm in my 5th year. Thank you for coming.
You know, democracy is alive and well when you have such wonderful people running for the school board, and when you can fill a room of people who want to come and learn about the school board and what it means to be a member and to consider all these wonderful options. I know most of my colleagues are in the room, so thank you for coming to see who else we might be serving with next year. And to thank you to Linda, who has been just a mentor and just such a strong voice over my 8 years so far on the school board. Many of you may know already, I'm a Millard North graduate myself. I then went on to live in Lincoln for a good chunk of my adult life, where I represented Northeast Lincoln in the Nebraska legislature. I moved back home to Omaha to work for Congressman Ashford, and that was when I started my family. And when there was an opening on the Millard School Board, I thought, yes, the district has such strong leadership, such vision, such excellence, that I want to bring the public policy experience that I have to the school district. I'm out of time, so I'll stop there.
Thank you so much. Thank you. We will move to question 1. What are your guiding principles and how might they translate to your time on the board? For this question, we'll begin with Justin.
That is a great question. So guiding principles, I think leadership is really important. I think leadership matters, and I think having qualified and competent leaders is really important. That is a guiding principle of mine. I think partnership, as I even mentioned earlier tonight, I think cultivating partnerships in the classrooms, with schools, in our community is important and something I want to fight for. And in stewardship, I mean, stewardship is a significant principle of mine, particularly thinking through Millard Public Schools, where this is one of the most significant assets our community has, and we do need to steward it well. Man, I love Millard. I think Millard as a district creates so many opportunities for children to thrive with its excellent programming. And as somebody who just values, if we're going to do things, let's do things really well. Let's do things with excellence. I think that'll continue to drive kind of how I think about leadership on the school board.
Thank you. Next, we'll move on to Allison.
Okay, in the 45 seconds I had to think about this question. I believe that the 3 things I would say are empathy, advocacy, and listening. First, empathy for every single person that lives in our district, making sure that they have what they need to be successful, from our teachers, our paraprofessionals, our staff, and our students. And the way that we express that empathy is through listening and really getting the input from every stakeholder across this community. And then third is the advocacy, is how do we move forward with what we've learned, and with empathy, how do we make decisions that will positively impact our community. So those are the 3 guiding principles I would say.
Thank you. Linda?
When I think about our guiding principles and how that guides me as a board member, I guess I don't think about the me, I think about the we. Because it's not about what I believe as a board member, it's about what we believe as a community. And the biggest driving force in this school district for the past 40 years has been our strategic planning process. And in that process, we bring together about 30 to 40 individuals, and we talk about what is the mission, what is our vision, what are our beliefs. And it's not the board that's deciding this, it's the community members at large. And every decision that I have made at the board table for the last 28 years has abided by what it says in our strategic plan, what are our beliefs as a district. And when I think about that, I think about two of the beliefs I think about all the time is our greatest resource is people.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Too much to say.
Next, we'll hear from Knut.
It's so fast. Okay, so the things that I look at, I'm with Allison. My strength finder top 1 is empathy. Sometimes that gets me in trouble. I cry easy. So, but I want to bring that to my role as a board member in looking at our students, and we're a public school. We accept everybody, and we need to be open to what they bring to us and how we can serve them. Compassion and understanding. You have to be able to listen. And when you listen, obviously if you're talking to other stakeholders, you're not going to agree with some of them. And And I feel very strongly that we should show grace to the people that we disagree with, and they disagree, hopefully they'll do the same for us. So when I've worked in teams, from volunteer efforts to working on the tax levy override, that's what I've always tried to do, listen and be a good team member.
Thank you. Jennifer? Oh, I'm so sorry, dear. We're at Amanda.
Yes, all right. I would say my guiding leadership principles are leading with the Strength Finders learner. So I believe in listening to different perspectives, and being really thoughtful in how you make decisions. Not jumping to conclusions or making those decisions too quickly. And during COVID, I feel like our board and our leadership did that really well. We took in all of the different perspectives, and there were a lot of them, and really worked through to try to, really kind of cross between everything and think about what's best for the kids. How do we get to that best outcome in that education? And I think that, we really probably couldn't have done much of a better job in threading that needle. And finding creative solutions as well, and that's really what our district needs to do moving forward with many of our challenges. I also was going to link back to the strategic plan and the core beliefs that everyone has value, everyone can learn, and we believe that for all of our children.
Thank you. And now we will hear from Jennifer.
Thank you. I think my biggest guiding principle is probably the principle of fairness, and my poor husband here can attest to you, my children too, that for a living, I'm a civil rights attorney, and I think that what's really telling about that and how that will translate onto the board is I value informed decision making, getting input from all opinions, and deciding and cooperating. So cooperation, when you're one of 6 that needs to make a decision, is a huge guiding principle for me. And I know that cooperation is what it will take to be a fine member of the Millard School Board that will represent all interests of all children and families, and not just ones that serve me or my friends or even party. Thank you.
Thank you. So we will move on to question 2. What would you consider to be the top priorities in ensuring every student across the 5 schools in the district experiences a healthy, safe, and comprehensive learning environment? We are going to begin with Allison.
Okay, can I clarify, when you say 5 schools, do you mean
35.
Okay.
I'm so sorry. 35 schools. You might be giving me some feedback here.
I just was making sure it's K through 12. So, all right, for across the 35 schools, top priorities are recruiting and retaining our amazing staff. We cannot do what we do without the folks who are doing the work every single day. And we know from research that the quality educational outcomes stem from having quality teachers in the classroom. And so that would be a top priority of mine, and it's been a top priority of this district and of the board that has served us so well. We have incredible folks that work for Millard, and so my priority would be to continue to retain those folks and then be able to recruit new folks to Millard. Another thing would just be making sure that we have all the right resources in the right places. We have students with all types of needs across this district, and making sure that we're getting those services and supports to the students that need them the most.
Thank you. Linda?
Can you repeat that one more
Yes,
time?
I would love to repeat the
Sorry.
question. I do apologize for misspeaking earlier. So what would you consider to be the top priorities in ensuring every student across the 35 schools in the district experiences a healthy, safe, and comprehensive learning environment?
Okay, I believe it all begins with our teachers, and as a board and administration, we need to make sure that we are hiring the highest quality staff, because that's where it begins. As I was starting to say in my opening statement, one of our beliefs is our greatest resource is people, but it's also the second belief that I believe really strongly in is all people are entitled to a safe, caring, supportive, and respectful environment. And that includes everybody. It doesn't matter what your background is, but everybody is entitled to that. That belief statement has changed. It changed in 2023. At that time, before that, we did not have supportive in there. We just said all people are entitled to a safe, caring, respectful environment. However, 2 years ago, when we redid our strategic plan, we thought it was important to include supportive, because everybody needs to be supported in order to be successful.
Thank you. Knut?
Okay, well, with the safe schools, I know that in the bond issues that we've had in the past, we've hardened our schools for physical safety. I think that will continue on, of course, in the schools that we are still yet to do. For the mental health of our students, I think we need to prioritize that. Of course, these prior have already said about recruiting and retaining quality teachers. Of course, it's hard to answer after somebody else has already said that. But creating that culture, that environment where students can walk into the school and feel accepted and be safe and know that they're loved by the staff. And I think part of being a board member is to model that and to be accepting and to be in those buildings and being there for the students and the teachers.
Thank you. Amanda?
And I could just say ditto. I mean, the teacher retention piece, how many of us can't think of 5 teachers who deeply impacted our lives and how that is the driving piece behind public education? Several of mine are on the wall, the Hall of Fame wall out there, actually, those teachers that shaped my life. But I do want to know, maybe to differentiate answers a little bit, is the importance of stable funding, including working with our state legislature and our governor. We have felt as board members that there hasn't been a consistent message, and we felt concern over, can we count on the dollars that we typically anticipate? Because we can't do better at recruiting teachers or providing more services and making sure we're being, giving every student the education and special services that they need to succeed if we can't rely on that funding stream. And hopefully being able to continue to work creatively with policymakers to find ways to decrease tax burden while also getting more funding from the state that maintains local control.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Jennifer?
Thank you. We've answered a lot of questionnaires, and I think my answer to this question has been consistent. My top priority is addressing what I consider to be a challenge in schools now related to the use of technology, social media, and prevalence of bullying and school safety. And I think if you talk to any parent who has a teenager or a tween, that they are facing real issues with how to navigate social media, how to navigate bullying, and bullying is different now because of the pervasiveness at which it can spread so easily because of technology. And what I'd like to do is to support our student resource officer program to make sure we are keeping our kids physically safe, but also addressing the issues that are challenging us with social media and the internet. Thank you.
Thank you. Justin?
So many things that have been said are right on. So I think investing in high quality teachers is going to be important to hit the points that you're indicating. Safety in schools is important, and Millard has done an outstanding job of hardening the buildings, of supporting SROs, of working with different city partners. So I think that's been great. I do think there's a need for ongoing education when it comes to technology and cell phones and the use and how to help on the home front there, because I do think bullying can be an issue. And I think we want, as a community, to really embrace the idea that every student who walks into our schools, into our classrooms, has inherent dignity, worth, and value, and needs to be honored as a human being. And I think we need to advocate for that.
Thank you so much, everyone. We'll move on to question 3. Funding has been a large conversation topic in education this year, and Millard constantly votes to override its levy. How do you think we could better allocate public funds to improve educational opportunities in the district without an increased burden on taxpayers? We will begin with Linda.
Okay, sorry, I was trying to write down so I knew the answer. That is very true. Funding is a big topic, and that is one of the major jobs of our school board, and we have been very active working with the legislature and working with the governor to make sure that we are funded fairly and appropriately. I can say our school district, we are a very fiscally conservative school board. We have very high academic achievement levels, but we do so at a very reasonable cost. We are the lowest, we have the lowest levy in the entire metro, and our average per pupil spending is about $12,000 per student, where the state average is $15,000 per student. So I think that our taxpayers are getting a really good value for their money. when you look at the academic achievement results that we have.
We will move on to Knut.
Thank you. This is one of the things that I'm really, I've been very fortunate to be able to work as a co-chair on tax levy overrides and bond campaigns. I've been able to learn what it takes. I haven't been in the budgeting process except on the Q sort, which is an all kind of, oh man, was that hard. But in the tax levy overrides, you know, we found people that did not want that tax levy raised up, and that's pretty obvious. But we have great stewards in our board, and that's what my plan is to continue that tradition. We have, my favorite thing with Millard is excellence is worth the investment, and we only go to our taxpayers when we need to keep our programs that we have, and the teachers and paraprofessionals that we want to keep. So we only work when we have to.
I mean, Linda said it all in terms of having the lowest levy and the lowest cost per pupil. I mean, we have the best team of staff in the district. Dr. Schwartz and the whole team are down there at the legislature advocating. They know how to, you know, we had a budget shortfall potentially. They looked under every cushion of the couch and were able to find money that prevented us from having to adjust our levy more dramatically. We need to continue to lean in on those experts, bring that expertise to other districts and to the state so that we can find those creative solutions, because it would be helpful to get more state funding for public education so that we can adjust our levy further. But we also need to maintain the local control to make good decisions for Millard and not lose that in that give and take. Our team has also been great at finding partnerships. We're getting some money from the learning community soon to do some really wonderful things, and running out of time.
Thank you so much. Justin? Or I'm sorry, Jennifer?
Thank you. I think what I bring to the board with respect to our fiscal policy is I've been a trusted advocate for my clients, and I've been advocating in the legislature separate and apart from the school district's interests. I was down at the special session testifying in front of our revenue committee about the proposed tax changes, how it would affect school funding. And I think what's really important is when the legislature in the next few sessions addresses school funding, we're going to see changes. We need to see changes. And so having a strong advocate who understands TIOSA and funding mechanisms and all the different proposals will very much serve Millard, and that's where I would love to be.
Thank you. Justin?
Thank you so much. I think Millard, again, does an excellent job, and to the things that have already been mentioned, Millard stewards its resources very, very well. So as citizens, you just need to rest assured that Millard's doing an outstanding job. I think I was at a meeting where the Nebraska Taxpayers for Freedom showed up and graded Millard an A for how they do their budgeting, which is a testimony to how well things are done. I think the issues have to do with state funding. Millard is facing, rolling into this year, an $11 million decrease in state funding. $11 million. The irregularity of what state funding looks like year to year needs to be addressed while still maintaining, I think as Amanda said earlier, local control that allows school districts to be able to make decisions on a local level, which is something that I would definitely advocate for.
Thank you. Allison?
Thank you. I would not use my 45 seconds to repeat what Linda and Amanda said about the importance of just how fiscally conservative our district has been. What I want to focus on is the commitment that our country has made to public education. Our state and our constitution says that we will fully fund public schools and make it accessible to all. And I would continue to advocate for that at the state legislature level. And like Jennifer said, I've also spoken, testified in Lincoln to really support our public schools, to make sure that we're keeping public dollars in public schools. I think that's part of the conversation as well. And so I would advocate for, similar as others have said, local control is important, but we also need to make sure that we're getting funding from the state that is consistent over time so we can plan and make sure that our state legislature is fully funding public schools.
Thank you. Question 4 reads, how can we attract young people to become teachers in Millard Public Schools, and how do we retain the teachers we already have? We will begin with Amanda.
Knut.
Oh,
I mean, I'm happy to go.
She's got an answer.
I do apologize to Knut.
No problem. Okay, so the question always is how to attract and retain quality educators, of which Millard has so many. We know that there is in the state of Nebraska, there's 1,200 open positions. Millard is very fortunate. We're not immune, but we have very few. One of the things I'm really excited about that I got to see on the foundation, being on the foundation board, is funding the Educators Academy here at Millard. It's an incredible program to grow our own teachers here, and we want to keep doing things like that. I think we also need to attract teachers that reflect the community of our building. So we want to attract kids from within the schools to begin a teaching career right here.
Thank you so much. We will move on to Jennifer.
Oh, is it okay if I go?
Our numbers are just a tad.
That's all right. Well, I'm Amanda. So many things across the pipeline here. We are intentionally recruiting students at a young age with clubs now, and even in our elementary schools that are supporting future teachers. We're growing our Teachers Academy in our high schools, which has been exciting. But for the teachers we've had really the most generous pay package since I started on the board this last time around, with almost unanimous support from the union. So we're doing what we can within our budget and our constraints to really prioritize teachers so we can retain them and not lose them to other districts, especially those who are about my age in their 40s who've been teaching for a while, and some other districts are paying those folks better. So we are making significant strides in that area and working out programs and partnerships with UNO so that we can get those teachers additional credits and education to move them up the pay scale as well.
Thank you, and I'm sorry, I think we figured out the order here, Jennifer. You'll be our next speaker here.
Thank you. I have two sisters that are teachers, and so we talk about this a lot, and I get their opinion about Millard a lot. And one of the things that they say that we do really well that we should potentially promote more is just all the different opportunities teachers have to do things that other schools aren't doing, like STEM Academy, our IB program, early college, even Montessori and things like that. So I think one of the things we need to do is we need to speak to a younger generation, which most of these teachers want to make a difference. They're entering a profession, and I think maybe we should take a little bit of a tip from my profession and make sure we really focus on mentorship. That's what we do in the legal community. We take young lawyers, we could take young teachers and make sure we develop mentorship programs for them, which I think would be great.
Millard has been so innovative in the ways that it recruits teachers. It's really, really impressive. And I think there's so many other districts that are taking their cues from Millard. So I think we want to continue to be innovative and think there. But it's not so much the recruiting of new teachers that is the issue. It's retaining of some of our best teachers. How do we do that? It's culture, right? It's culture. How are we creating an environment where our teachers feel like professionals, like they're treated like professionals, where they're supported inside the classroom, and when they have opportunities to continue to grow and develop as leaders and move up in their careers as they would want to as well. So I think professional development is something we need to continue to be investing in. And as a board, I would say there's a way that we can help keep the noise out of the classroom so that teachers have the opportunity to focus on education.
As the daughter and granddaughter of teachers, I have a lot of respect for our K-12 teachers, and I think one thing that we can do to both recruit and retain teachers is really about the way we talk and celebrate our teachers, lifting them up. And we can do that, we can role model that as a board, but we can also role model that in the community. Less folks are going into teaching because it's not as lucrative as a position or as a profession as it used to be. And so we have to make sure folks see teaching as one of the most important careers that folks can take advantage of. And that's why I'm really proud that my daughter's a part of the Young Educators Club starting in 4th grade. And I hope to grow some teachers here in my own family. But I think making sure they know what an incredible difference they can make as teachers and how great they could be if they serve our Millard community is really important.
Linda?
Great question. Being an educator myself, This is a really important question to me, and having being from a family of educators. My sister was a teacher, my mother was a teacher, all three of my daughters are teachers, my son-in-law is in the education field. This is so critically important. And I think it's just really important that we need to go out and we need to sell our story. We need to tell the story about public education, because public education, we have a great public education system here in the state of Nebraska, and Millard is at the top of it. We have to sell that story. We've done lots of things here in Millard to try to encourage people to go into the teaching profession. I know it's already been mentioned. We have the Education Academy. We have at all of our elementary and middle schools, we have educator rising clubs. Amanda mentioned our teaching contract. Our contract with the MEA was approved by over 90% support this year, which is record high. But we need to make sure we work alongside our MEA to find out what our teachers need and what they want, and try to deliver that. Not just our teachers, but all of our staff.
We will move on to Knut. I'm so sorry.
You already did that.
Yeah, it's good.
I love it. Okay, I apologize, everyone. Question 5 reads, how can we as a district support our school libraries in providing adequate resources and reading materials to all students?
That is a fascinating question. Were you done? I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You can start.
Yeah, because that is not one that I've seen on any surveys or such. And so I frankly haven't spent a lot of time thinking about it, because I mean, my own boys are in elementary school, right? And I feel that, you know, the opportunities to, you know, check out books and be exposed to different books and different reading levels is really excellent in my school, honestly. And the ability to be able to donate and support the library through great things, whether it's the book fair or, you know, the various opportunities to support the schools. But I think we do a pretty good job of that, honestly.
Thank you. Next, we'll go to Jennifer.
Thank you. I think the school libraries in Millard, the selection of the materials and the grade level appropriateness of the materials, the thing I love about Millard, and why part of the reason I love my children being in the school district, is it's a process-driven decision with input. It's not just something that is, you know, each individual school is deciding independently what will be provided, and they give input with teachers and with also parents, which I think is important. And I also think the way that we strengthen our school libraries is to make sure that our schools are properly funded. Those are materials that after textbooks or, you know, iPad programs, Excel and all of those things, that really making sure that we're funding to be able to get good opportunities for all different types of reading and literacy in our school.
Thank you. Justin?
Can you use part of my time to have you just read?
Question 5 reads, how can we as a district support our school libraries in providing adequate resources and reading materials to all students?
Great. I mean, I think Millard does a fantastic job of that. I think we need to make sure that we're funding it appropriately. I think we need to give the librarians treat them as professionals and let them select resources that are age and stage appropriate and help support the curriculum and advocate for children to be learning to read. It kind of seems like a bit of a no-brainer. My son, who's in 8th grade, this last summer, between 7th and 8th grade, became a ferocious reader. Can't get enough. We want to create students like that, right? Who become lifelong learners because they have access to great materials in our libraries.
Thank you. Allison?
Thank you. I believe that books are windows into the world, and it's so important that our students get to go into a library and pick out books that will expose them to different ideas that maybe they haven't been exposed to before. And I think that's what we do here in Millard, and I would love to continue to make sure that we have materials available for students that they can see themselves reflected in and also see a different world, a different perspective, a different background. And I think fully funding it, making sure that we are respecting the librarians who are doing the work of finding the appropriate resources for our children, and really just encouraging that love of reading and the love of learning by making these places that kids really want to go and frequent. And I think I hear from my children how much they love going to the library and how wonderful our librarians are helping them select resources.
Thank you. Linda?
I would have to agree that funding is definitely an issue here. However, when I first entered, became a teacher back in 1987, education has really changed since then. All of our curriculum is not in textbooks, a lot of it is online, and so it's working with the online publishers to have licenses for a lot of our curriculum, so a lot of it is done that way. We spend a pretty big amount of money on online licenses for students as well. We have policies and procedures that we go through when selecting school materials, that the public is always invited to preview the materials. So that's in place because we're trying to be as transparent as possible. But I believe having a big selection of books, not only in the school library, but also in your classroom is very important because I always want kids to feel like they have something that they can read.
Knut?
What they said. You know, Allison hit a couple of points that I really wanted to make, where the students can find themselves. I think that's incredibly important. It was important to me as a kid to find something that I could identify with. And I think our librarians are the professionals that know how to pick those books and, like we said, involve our stakeholders in the selection of those materials. We want our kids to be critical thinkers. Wherever they come into our schools, at whatever level, whatever abilities and desires they have, we want them to be able to excel in our schools and when they graduate. And that's going to start with the materials that we offer them. And our librarians and our teachers are the ones that know how to do that. And of course, we'll involve the public, but that is, you know, we have to let them do their jobs.
Thank you. We will now go into closing statements. We will begin with Jennifer.
I just want to thank the League of Women Voters for giving us this opportunity to speak directly to voters. It's just been such a pleasure to be up here with everybody, and I agree we have a great group of candidates. I think the most important thing for me to convey to you tonight is that I plan to use skills, quite frankly, that I developed in Millard as a debater and a student athlete. I use my advocacy skills and my leadership skills that I've used in countless other organizations to succeed. I want to use those to better Millard Public Schools. I think that we are doing a great job. I have my children in school there, but I feel like I subscribe to a continuous improvement mindset. I like to look at challenges, one that we're facing with, we're not building houses anymore. And so our school district's going to be changing over the next decade, and I'm up for the task of being innovative and using my leadership skills and my advocacy to make Millard great.
Justin?
I've been honored to have been endorsed by some great people, including Don Rowe on our city council, Marianne Borgeson, who's a Douglas County Commissioner, Mike Pate, who has served on the school board for a long time. Probably the most significant, though, endorsement that meant something to me was from a friend of mine who sees the world differently than I do. We see the world through completely different lenses. But when he found out I was running, he said, "I'm on board. What do you need? How can I help?" And I said, "Why are you wanting to help me in this?" He says, "Because I know you love education. I know you love students. I know you're going to treat students with dignity, with worth, and with value. And you're going to love your neighbor as yourself." I think that's something that I'm passionate about, and I really do look forward to continuing to invest. The beautiful thing about a panel like this is we're invested. We're going to be invested, whether or not we're on board or not. So I'm just eager about the opportunity to continue to serve and lead to keep our Millard schools great and thriving, which they've done for a number of years. And it's one of the reasons why we can fill a room like this is because people are passionate and care. So thank you so much for being here and giving us an opportunity to share.
Thank you. Allison?
Thank you. I hope tonight you have all been able to see that I'm really passionate and committed to Millard Public Schools, and I'm really proud to be a parent and a stakeholder here in our community. My priorities as a school board member would be number one, to support our teachers and staff. As I mentioned, they are the heartbeat of what we do. And number two, supporting our students and making sure every single student in Millard has access to the world-class education that we offer here. That's especially our most vulnerable students. And making sure that we have the right resources in place to support those students is going to be my number one priority. I also believe that my educational background, my professional experience as a college professor, and my personal commitment and connection to Millard Public Schools has set me up to be a really strong candidate to step into this role on the school board. And I want to be part of the district, the school board, to move our district forward going into the future.
Thank you. Linda?
Thank you. First of all, I just want everybody to know it's been an honor to serve this community for the past 28 years, and I hope that I can count on your support to continue to serve it for more into the future. I've not only had the opportunity to serve at the local level as a member of the Millard Board of Education, but I've also served for over 10 years on the State School Boards Association, and I'm a past president of that association, and I have also served on the National School Boards Association as one of the Western Region directors, where I was over 3 states. So I've had experience at both the local, state, and national level when it comes to education and serving our children, not only here, but across the nation. I have a passion for public education. I believe it's the bedrock of our country, and I believe there's nothing better than ensuring that we have a strong public education system here. And so I want to continue to offer world-class education to our community while doing that and being fiscally responsible. I would also like to say I've been endorsed by the Millard Education Association every year that I have served as a school board member since 1996, and I have received their endorsement again. So thank you for the opportunity, and I hope I can count on your support.
Thank you. Knut?
Thank you, everyone, for coming tonight. A former board member, Dave Anderson, once told me, he said that Millard has a tradition of service and volunteerism in our community, and it's a privilege to do that. I am very, very proud of the 22 years that I've spent working in this district, from Harvey Oaks Elementary through Millard North and now to the Millard Public Schools Foundation Board. It is an honor and a privilege. Annie and I and our kids had an amazing experience when they were in school, and we want our current and future families to have the same experiences that we did. It makes all the difference in the world when your kids come home happy and they're glad that they're doing a school, at a school that makes them feel fulfilled. My North Star will always be to provide that for all of our students, and of course maintaining fiscal responsibility. These guys have done an amazing job since we've been in this district, and I want to continue that. I'm proud to be endorsed by Millard teachers,
Thank you
some
so
of which I
much.
call friends, so thank you very much.
Amanda?
Thank you to the League of Women Voters for having us and for everyone here in attendance. I'm so grateful to the voters of Millard for giving me the opportunity to serve for the last 8 years. During this 8 years, I went from being a Millard grad who was passionate about the district to being a Millard mom. I gave birth to my first kid a month after being sworn in. So it's been quite the journey of also just getting to see firsthand, as they've entered schools and now both of them are there, the way that we are working so hard to uniquely meet each child where they're at, and to have programming both for their successes and their talents, but also for the challenges that come along with every child, and how we can really wrap our arms around all of them so they all have the best experience possible. Would just be an honor to continue to work in this capacity to ensure all kids have that experience. I haven't had a chance to talk a lot about the mental well-being piece and mental health in my day job and in my past legislative life. I've worked a lot with children in mental health, and that is something that's near and dear to my soul. All of the challenges that were spoken about earlier, and how it is critical our kids come out with the background they need, but also the mental well-being.
Thank you for joining us this evening. We really appreciate you sticking in for this conversation, and I do apologize for some of those errors earlier on. But if you want to learn more about the candidates and issues that will be on your ballot, we hope that you visit vote411.org for a personalized resource tool. We have the room held until 8:15 p.m., so if you'd like to stay after for a chance to talk to one of our candidates, please be respectful of their time and the school's time. A special thank you to the candidates for participating in today's conversation. For the League of Women Voters of Greater Omaha, I'm Candide Santiago. As always, we urge you to be informed and to be a voter this November. I would like to also just pass the microphone over to Taylor, so if you could just hold on for one moment.
I feel like I'm pretty vocal. I don't need a microphone for this, but I just wanted to thank you all for being here. It truly is a testament to Millard for how many people showed out just for this candidate forum. I also wanted to thank our candidates for being here and being so open to the community. It really is an awesome pleasure. Thank you all for being here.